Okay, ready for the big reveal? So, I've been tracking. Just as a recap, 2 videos ago, I talked about how I recognize myself in my own stagnant survivor archetype phase in the realm of my body. So, go back to that episode and see where you might be living out stagnant survivor. And if you find yourself in the stagnant survivor phase and you can see it clearly enough to know you're there, that means you're on the edge of being able to change it. So, what do you do? Well, what you don't do is keep trying to do the things that you've been trying to do that haven't been working. What you do instead, for my action oriented friends, is not try to take action until you completed step one of the 5 steps of ecstatic manifestation, which is clearing your space. And in this video, I'm not going to go through everything I came up with over the last several days that I've been tracking. I think it's been 5 days. I'm sure I will revisit those things in upcoming videos, but I am going to give you the overview. So you want to track because you want to know what is taking up your space. So when it comes to body stuff, I mentioned this in that video 2 videos ago, that I'm not, this isn't in the front of my mind. I have a lot in the front of my mind that I'm thinking about throughout the day. And in general, in my life, I feel really good. I do. I feel content. I feel calm. I feel at ease. And so when I heard myself in my own description of the stagnant survivor and realized this is how I feel with my body, as I said in my last video, like getting this place just better, whatever that means. And I am taking myself through my manifestation process with it. Um, but getting this part of my life better is going to affect every other part of my life. And you could say that about any aspect of your life that carries weight for you. Um, like if there's an area of your life that feels burdensome, even if it's not at the front of mind, it's going to impact everything else. But this is also literally my body. Everything I do in my life starts with my body at a literal level, at a 3-dimensional level, at an energetic holographic level. Like it has a big impact on how I'm living my life, what is accessible to me, how much energy I have. So, let's get with this. Let's make permanent change in here. And if you haven't yet listened to the video from 2 days ago, or 2 videos ago, not 2 days, but 2 videos ago, I haven't stated a desire or a goal in this area yet. My first place of attention is what's already here. I want to know what's already here. And then I want to create safety. And then that gets to be the jumping off point. In this video today, I'm also not going to get to desire yet because I want to sit with what I found. It's quite a rubble. So let me share my screen and go here. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go into everything I found, but what I did is I asked myself the questions I gave on those videos 2 videos ago. If I remember the name, I would just tell you. But I asked myself those questions and then I tracked, because this is related to my body, I tracked my food. and also my thoughts, emotions, and sensations. So I just had a journal sitting, like I work from home, so it's really easy. You can use your phone, you can use whatever's nearby. Um, but I had it like at my workstation on the days I was working, which was actually, I worked 7 out of the last 8 days, so that was a good spot for it. And then when I wasn't working, I had it where I eat so that I could just jot down what I ate, yes, but also if there were any accompanying thoughts or feelings or whatever that was coming up. And it's gentle. Like this wasn't like, that's it, I'm getting to the bottom of this. I need to see what I'm eating and blah blah blah. It wasn't like that. It was gentle. It was coming from a place of curiosity. And that is important. You want to feel curious in this and you want to feel like that has a level of neutrality to it. Like I'm interested. I'm not going to dive back into old thought patterns about this behavior or whatever because it's not useful. It's not useful. I'm going to recognize the thought patterns. I'm going to recognize the behavior. I'm going to recognize the emotions in this, and I'm going to observe that recognition. So I went back through, and this is why it's so good to write this down somewhere or voice note it to yourself or something, somewhere that you can revisit it. Because in the moment of writing it down, like that does capture something, but getting to go back through with the eye of the observer truly is going to give you another perspective. So I had my stuff here. I was writing it on my journal and then I was putting it into this document. So then this morning I went back through and I just said, what is my space filled with? So I went back through the previous pages and again, with neutrality and with curiosity, I'm like, what was my space filled with? So some of these things are literal foods that I had. Some of these things were the things I felt. Some of them were the thoughts. So my space has been filled with fuzziness. So like brain fuzziness, beer. And these are in no particular order, by the way, and no particular order of concentration. Some of these things came up repeatedly, some of them came up once. So I just put them in a document because I wanted to just look at it. So fuzziness, beer, guilt, daily walks, salt and lemon water, coffee and cream, quick release serotonin, desire for a quick fix, all or nothing thinking. And if you remember, these last two are signs of being in the stagnant survivor phase. Bargaining, defending, bloat, tension around my tension, shame, comfort, desire for more, desire for less, not being acceptable, deep satisfaction. If I'm going to give up something, then I have to fill up on that thing beforehand. Stress about my choices, conversations with my body, waking up looping in my mind, psyllium husk and magnesium, salmon snacks, getting things I don't want just to not want them, talking myself in and out of choices, reframing, lymphatic work, vibrating plate, red light, searching for answers, feeling ugly. So, what do you, as the listener or watcher, notice about that list? Do you, if you notice anything in particular, let me know. So, one thing, if you have been listening to me at all before now, the singular reason you haven't manifested what you want is because you don't have congruence around what you want. So there is a significant lack of congruence in that list, even if I haven't named what I want yet, right? It's all over the board. Like I didn't say all of this in that document, but I feel fuzzy or I feel clear. I'm taking daily walks. I feel shame. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Much, there's so many different energies in there, right? I will say, if you're looking for the next step, and you know I'm going to do it with you and talk to you about it, but that is a way to use this journal. So I express in that document guilt. You can go to the guilt section and like, okay, I see guilt is between me and my desire. Again, even if you don't yet know what your desire is, you can still go to the guilt section and it will help you access your desire. So just come here, find that emotion, and go through the process. That's not what I'm doing today, but that was my plug for the journal, and that is a way to use it. The Embodied Law of Attraction Journal, edition 4, Shannon White. Available on Amazon or just participate for free on Telegram. Link in the description. So, a lot of conflicting thoughts, emotions, sensations, and behaviors, right? Yes, correct. Now, another question, which is very interesting, I'm going to share my screen again, is what if I picked a manifestation? I'm going to be the next triathlete, the next winning triathlete or something. And this is what I'm building that on top of. I'm going to be the next triathlete whose space is filled with beer, whose space is filled with salmon snacks, whose space is filled with looping every morning in my mind, whose space is filled with a desire for a quick fix and all or nothing thinking, whose space is filled with bargaining, whose space is filled with bloat. Like, do you think I'm gonna, like, how long is it gonna take me to be a triathlete if this is what I'm building my foundation on? So, not having gone through this process over these last several days of tracking, if I were like, okay, I'm going to be a triathlete and this is my baseline, then I'm probably going to stop and start, 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 right? You know? Um, when people are manifesting on top of this, you get our current political environment. Like this is what these people are manifesting from. And it's some wild shit, right? Like it's not great. It's not great. So, I don't want all this clutter in my space as I'm moving forward. I'm not condemning this clutter. I'm not hating myself for this clutter. I'm not telling myself I shouldn't have this clutter, but I am acknowledging this is what's been here. And because it's been in the back of my mind, it was not totally conscious until I was writing it down and daily I was like, "Oh my God." Like I have this thought every single time I do this thing. No wonder I wasn't making progress, whatever progress means. No wonder it was hard for me to feel better. No wonder I was staying in stagnant survivor phase without really being aware of it because all this clutter. So, I asked myself, as you just saw in that document, what's filling my space? I rewrote it just for that one page to kind of be able to observe it. And I was flipping back through, just the few days of journaling, seeing what I wanted to capture. And what I recognized is that I have been in a constant state in this area of my life. Again, it's not like holistically, I feel good. In this area of my life, though, I have been in a constant state of trying to micromanage myself. Now, do you remember if you've been following along over the last 2 months when I said, this was way at the beginning, and I said, one of my desires is to not have to keep managing the same details over and over and over again. Like it is exhausting. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm managing the same details over and over and over again. And when I looked at the foods I was eating, like some of them deeply satisfying. I love them, but I would choose them to manage what I did yesterday. Or if I were trying to make some decision about tomorrow, I would manage what I'm doing now in reference to tomorrow. So it's like keeping me in this. And let's see, I wrote some notes here. Okay. So when we're stuck in any place, you're not actually still. What's happening? I've talked about the pulsation of energy. So like it just, let's say it goes like this, because it does in the body. This is a very small version, but it comes out the head, goes down, up the feet. This is your electromagnetic field and how it moves. When energy gets stuck, let's say it's stuck right here. I'm just making this up. It's not just sitting here. It's like trying to move between two spots. It's getting push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. There's some like it still wants to move in the direction that it started to move in. Like there's this impulse and we're like, "Oh, I'm going to do this thing. Woohoo!" And then it gets caught because of some belief or nervous system response or, name the limiting thing. It gets stuck because some part of you says this direction isn't safe, but it's toggling between, wait, I still want to go that way, but no, it's not safe. Oh, wait, I still want to go that way, but no, there's some reason not to. Oh, wait, I want to go that way. Oh, no, I can't. And so it's doing this back and forth thing. And because it can't really get in either direction, like it can't, it like it's inhibited from going the direction it was originally going, and it's inhibited from returning to where it was because it wants to keep going, but it can't keep going because it's some reason not to. Then some other like pattern or thought pattern or behavior or emotion rises up in response. And then that's like what creates the loop that we find ourselves in. And so this is me in this part of my holistic life where in things related to my body, and for sure this is, messages that I got growing up and stuff like that, but like I don't need to go into that. But I'm just recognizing like I have a pulsation that says I want to do this, but I was told that's bad. But no, I want to, but no, it's bad. But no, I want to, but no, it's bad. And so I'm always like, again, I didn't know this until I did this project, did this process. So I'm like constantly managing like these two places. And inside of those two places is all this energy, all this potential that still is trying to get somewhere. So when I recognize this, that my thought patterns and my decisions and my behaviors throughout these days have 85, 90% all been in response to managing decisions I made yesterday or managing decisions I'm about to make. There's no desire in that. There's no freedom in that. That is, I mean, it's a double bind, but it's a fucking clusterfuck. And no wonder it's been so frustrating in the back of my mind and, in a 80% unconscious kind of way. And I also discovered through this process, and this was in the days before today, a couple days ago, I had a meal that was just so satisfying. And I'm like, oh, it just takes the thoughts off my plate of like, what am I gonna eat next? And I'm like, right, I want to be moving towards satisfaction. Like that's probably going to be my anchor, or we'll see. Again, I'm not doing that in this video, but that's like a strong one, like satisfaction. There is no satisfaction in constantly managing details, the same details over and over and over again. I made this choice yesterday, so I have to do better today. Oh, I'm going to give this thing up tomorrow, so then I better have it today. Do. No satisfaction. It is in a constant state of trying to be better or trying to make up for being better, like a future version of making up for being better. You don't have to totally know what I mean, because I didn't necessarily share like the verbatim thought process, but with the understanding that I'm like squished between these two things. And when I really saw that in my choices and in my thought patterns, when I was going through this today, I really felt it. And, if there's something that really, if you want to move energy, if you want to get out of a pattern, if you want to manifest, if you want to let go of something that you've been doing or holding or thinking or whatever, like, what do you feel? Most of the shit that we I don't know, most of the shit that we um, are doing that we don't prefer is in response to us not wanting to feel something. And so I just felt that place in between those two points of tension. I don't even have a name for it, but I saw the pattern and I was like, oh God, and it just felt like exhausting a little that I've been doing that. And then I felt like emotion rise up, cried a little, and then I went into a bit of a still point. And a still point is something I know the term from craniosacral work, but you don't have to know the term. It's just when you go into stillness. Everything goes quiet. It's pretty self-explanatory in the term. But if you find that place, which usually comes after energy has moved, let yourself sit in that for a moment. Don't pick up your phone. Just like let your body be still. Your nervous system's actually resetting in that moment. There's a pause in the tides of your pulsations of your body, and like let it pause, because then it starts to move differently. That is how you get change, like at a physiological, energetic level in a deep way. So, recognizing that I'm constantly managing, having the idea that probably what I want is satisfaction. I will throw this in there too. When I was thinking about that yesterday, I was thinking about the difference between like asking myself, am I satisfied? Which seems like there's an endpoint to something. Like, am I satisfied with this meal? Am I satisfied with this workout? Versus asking myself, is this taking me toward more satisfaction or away from more satisfaction? Which leaves it more open-ended and isn't like there's no perfection in it. It's just like, oh yeah, I want more of this. Like this is taking me closer to the feeling that I want. And I would say whatever feeling you choose, that's the way to go about it. Is this bringing me more ease? Is this bringing me less ease? Is this bringing me more safety? Is this bringing me more clarity or less clarity? Maybe you're not clear, but you can get closer and you can get further away. So, again, I'm not going to like push myself into the next phase which is really important. I know, again, like it's easy to be a go-getter and we're like manifesting and where is it? You know? But again, if you're in this process with the stagnant survivor, it's probably got some old energy in it. So let yourself explore it, let yourself be interested, do the tracking, and then the signaling safety. So I did what I said I was going to do in the last video is I actually sat with this feeling. I thought I was going to do it with something else, but I sat with this feeling like, oh, I'm always managing myself in this place. And I just let myself have that thought and I did the signaling safety. Like, okay, it's this, it's safe to acknowledge this. It's safe to be aware of this. It's safe to like allow this to be here because it's already here. You know, I said in the last video, it's not, you're not telling, by signaling safety, you're not telling yourself, like, this is how I want to keep living. This is correct. This is okay. You're not doing that, but you are reducing tension. You're releasing tension around the undesirable place so that more energy can open and more possibilities open and there's more potential. You want your potential. Like, I accessed my potential energy today. I don't know yet how that's going to show up in my life, but I felt it. I went into that still point. Something new is on the horizon. So I will come back another video with the next steps. Just to give you an intellectual overview. So after tracking, clearing your space, signaling safety, after clearing your space through tracking and signaling safety. And you can keep tracking. I actually highly recommend that. And I do have people do that in my classes that when we teach live. It, at least thoughts, emotions, sensations, because they're going to change, which is great. You do want change. But you want to be aware if like a new one starts coming up and starts looping. Like there's also a lot of energy in these double bind places, you know? So keep tracking, keep signaling safety. It's not just a one and done. And then the next is if I do go into it in order, finding true desire. And there are a few different ways of doing that. So one is I've done a lot of it on these videos through the emotional alchemy. One is through imagination exercises. And that's all I have for now. I'll see you next time.